If you didn't know any better, you would assume that this is Like, this is a panel taken from the first 10 chapters of Oshinoko, but in fact, this is chapter 129. And, if you use this as a thumbnail, and you put the title I has returned, I'm willing to bet you most people will believe it, thinking that I is actually resurrected to some degree. And I'm probably doing that for the title, I'm going to be honest with you. But it's crazy how well Ruby pulls this off, how she brought back to life I in a certain way through this acting. And it's interesting. There's a lot of discovery, a lot of learning, a lot of character development, and it's just like everything. The culmination of everything that Oshinoko has been doing since the first 10 chapters is finally coming here to this very point, this central point to just like reveal who I was. There is so much going on here because I as a character has obviously been gone since the beginning of the story. Since the first 10 chapters, she has been dead. But her overall impact in weight within the story since this very day has been felt within the story. She is this character that is this shadow, this, actually not even a shadow, she's this shining star that is always illuminating everything that is within Aqua and Ruby's life, even the toxic and good things. And she's always just been there, even though she's gone. And she technically hasn't had really anything new, like present day new stuff, because she's dead. It's crazy her overall presence. And she's technically never left because of that. And seeing finally, after all of these years technically waiting for these moments to finally happen, we're getting all this details and learning more about her character. And we've always known that she was a faker. She put on a mask / facade. We've all known this. It's been very well known for a very long time. But getting the actual feelings attached to it and what she was probably feeling throughout her life before she probably had Aqua and Ruby, or even when she probably did, is very fascinating. And Ruby's discovering this because we got to look at this from this perspective of what this chapter presents and what the early chapters presented as well. Ruby was always a fangirl. She was. When she was born to I and all that and became her daughter and had her first real mother figure in her life, because we know her story with her real mother, she was a fangirl. She fangirled after I. She watched all her shows. She danced, did, the little dances and stuff with the glow sticks. We know just how much of a fangirl that, Ruby was to I. So when you see her being able to see this from a different lens, from actually her mother's eyes, she's like, oh, and it shocks her. Like the anger that she probably felt, the sadness, the loneliness, the isolation. There's a lot going on here because Ruby, as an individual, as a character, she does have elements of having to put on a strong mask and have isolation and all this. I mean, think about her previous life as, Sarina. She was bedridden. She was not able to do what she wanted, walk, etc., be an idol. None of these things. And as a girl, a very young aged girl dying like that, it is just, nobody deserves that. It's awful. It's just an awful thing to imagine. And the amount of loneliness she felt within her life, probably anger and sadness to the very bitter end, to the final moments of her previous life, is stuff that obviously is starting to bubble to the surface for her as a character. And seeing her realize that I probably went through some very similar things, most likely with her family, to just like her life of having to put on these masks of a brave face or happiness and all that, it's going to really allow her to finally see who I was for the real self. And I think that's kind of one of the big messages that this story is trying to do, Ruby to finally see her for who she really is, and discover more about herself as well, and be honest about her feelings and how she feels about things and all that. I'm excited, like legit. It's like the entire series has been building up for these moments. Finally, Ruby and Aqua, settling the score with their father that got rid of their mother, since that very day, since the first 10 chapters, which was years ago at this point in terms of real time for us reading the manga. It's awesome. And another thing I want to talk about as well is the fact that, Ruby as a character is someone that did not get a lot of love in the early stages of the story. I think anyone can, agree with this. That, yeah, she's had some chapters, like with the whole new B Komachi and all that, but Ruby was kind of sidelined. For most of the story, she was sidelined in favor of following Aqua, because, he's getting his vengeance and all that, and Ruby was kind of pushed to the side a little bit as, like, an idol group. That was about it. And then, until as of late, for these past, 2 dozen to 3 dozen chapters, she's really gotten more more spotlight, and Aqua's kind of been pushed to the side a little bit to really focus on Ruby, which I think is very important, especially where the story is trying to go, and allow her to play the role as it's nice to see Akka and Mingo, giving more development to her character, and having her really have a centralized role, because this is a story about two characters, not just like Aqua, but also about Ruby, and there is a lot that's really at display here. And another thing, too, I really like is the, showcasing of acting skills, is that Ruby is a complete novice. She is someone faking it until she makes it. She is trying to be her mother, and she's realizing that, she's not a good actor. She accepts that, but she's trying her best. And I think that also what this presents is what, happened with that she was someone that had to learn all these skills on her own. She had to come to terms with it and do her exact best to always put on the mask that was needed at that time and throw her emotions into it. So that is a big thing. I really think that this is exactly what has been built up for a very long time. It's just, I love it, man. Oshinoko is cooking. It's legit cooking as a manga right now. Now, besides all of that, though, we have to talk about a few other things. Like, we have the director really trying to get Ruby to express herself and make this movie as best as possible. And it's going to be a messy affair, honestly, because it's like, this movie is going to be shown to the world, and obviously that is the intention of Ruby and Aqua to do this, is to show it for they can get vengeance against who killed Ai. But the point of the matter is that this is going to really complicate their life. It's going to make things so much more difficult, but even put a target on Ruby and Aqua's back, because with this going public, the father is probably not going to want this, and potentially want to get rid of them. So there's a lot really just at stake here, but yeah, just, man, Oshinoko, dude, it's just been good. Like, this has legitimately been good. I can't wait to see, honestly, more as we continue down this journey, find out more about Ai's life. I want to know more about her as a character, because she, like I said, she's a presence that we've always felt within the story, but to actually get this details now, finally, is crazy. Like, this is what we've all been waiting for a very long time, and I can't wait. I can't wait for more info to come out. But, I guess I'll leave it at that. I briefly wanted to talk about this latest chapter and how, in a way, Ai has been resurrected. But, be safe, stay healthy, everyone. Chibi out.